I don't want to have to rip everything out, but maybe it's the only option. So all you builders, please give me an idea. It's been weeks, specifically 7 weeks, since I started working on the exterior of my home. I am so close, hopefully just days away from finishing all the siding. I've finished the feature bump out for the home, a lot of the exterior vinyl siding, and now I have 2 sides left. And if you're new here, my name is Biata. I've been building my home from scratch for the last 3 years, starting with land development, moving on to framing the home and the rough-ins, and now we're getting to the finishing work. I post a new video nearly every Sunday of my DIY home build and homestead journey, so if you're into that, subscribe. Now let's get started. This is the biggest wall I'm about to do. I'm very excited. We're gonna go horizontal and board and batten up in the gable. I have to tape the top edge of the base flashing, trim out the window.
Again, starting with the J-trim at the bottom, going up the sides, and then doing the J-trim on the top.
The J-trim that sits right on the ledge of the flashing as the quote-unquote starter strip, and get the J-boxes in for the electrical. I had my first box in. Originally, I was going to be doing 2 plugs. This one was going to be for the grinder pump, and this one was going to be for the alarm. If anything goes wrong with, this plug, the alarm's on a different circuit and it'll go off if something with the pump fails. The issue is, my original goal is to be able to have this on my backup system, and I can't use arc fault breakers on my backup system, unfortunately. And so what I'm having to do is use arc fault plugs. But the issue with using arc fault plugs is then you have to run armored cable to your first plug. And this has to be a GFCI, so I would need a plug that was both GFCI and arc fault, and that's not a thing.
I've learned that this is a thing in the States, but it's not allowed in the Canadian electrical code.
I have to bring this outlet onto a post, and then that way it doesn't have to be arc fault protected, but it can still be GFCI protected with the plug.
The thought behind this code is that if the receptacle were to arc on a post and catch fire, the post would burn down and that would be okay. But if the receptacle were on the house and it arced, but there was no arc fault plug to shut off the breaker, then the house could catch on fire, which is not good.
I'm going to have a junction box in behind the wall here.
And that junction box will have the 12-2 wire moretted with the 12-2 tech cable that can come outside.
And I'm going to put this here because I think it'll look nicer. Whereas a lot of the times with siding, you see someone, it's like an afterthought with the wires. You see someone bring a wire in and it doesn't look good. Whereas this can be like plugged with something for the wire to come through, and I can still put a cover on here and make it look as if it's a plug behind here and bring the wire down buried underground and bring it over to the post. But I think this was the best solution while I was doing the phase of siding. I'm not quite ready to get all of this done yet. You got to think about this stuff, or else you're going to have a chunky big armored cable coming out of your wall and it's not going to look good. I haven't done my H transition trim at the top yet, but I am so excited to do this wall because everything kind of works out really evenly. My first row is going to be 12 feet, 12 feet, 4 feet, and only one piece of siding needs to be cut in the first row. The next row is going to be 8 feet, 12 feet, 8 feet. And the cutoff from the 4 feet on the last row is going to start off this row. And then the next row is going to be 4 feet, 12 feet, 12 feet. And the cutoff from the 8 foot on that side is going to be used for the 4 foot on this side. So very little waste. I lucked out. It's a 28-foot wall, so it divides out equally into fours. Fours? Yeah. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Yeah, fours. Math. Time to get that first row leveled out. That is, I find, the trickiest part of starting the siding is getting that first row done, especially when it spans over such a large area and it's too bright to use a laser. The wind direction more often than not blows this way, so it's better for your overlap to go over top of the piece before in like the direction of the wind, so that wind doesn't get into the gaps and cause like flapping in your siding. Starting on that side, it overlaps this way. Wind comes this way. It's coming along so well. As I've been working, I've been thinking about how almost every single trade I have started, and within the first week of me attempting it, I've wanted to give up. And I've thought, why didn't I just hire out? And by the end of it, I think to myself, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful I stuck this through, because it ends up most of the times being something that I'm able to do and I get the hang of, and I get into a groove, and I feel really proud of myself by the end of it. So if you're thinking, man, this looks tricky, don't get me wrong, it's going to be tricky to learn. Truly, it is. Like, we have to have a high respect for the trades and what men and women are doing day in and day out. And at the same time, there is such a need for DIY for those who are wanting to be self-sufficient, who want to know how their home works, and who needs to save like a really good chunk of money. The amount of money it costs to hire out repairs for homes is just wild. I remember one of the first things I fixed back when I was like in my early 20s was my dryer. Something went wrong with the dryer. I figured out what it was. I ordered a part for it. I replaced it. And there's such a need for DIY because not everyone can afford to hire someone out at $80 an hour. All of this to say, you can do hard things. Yes, it's going to be hard. They make it look easy on all the videos on YouTube and Instagram. It's more difficult than it looks, but you'll get a huge sense of accomplishment when you complete it. And just like that, the bulk of the wall is done. I'm gonna save that last strip for when I get the H trim up. My work day is done. I'm so excited to share with you what I've been making for Christmas for my friends and family with my 3D printers from Bamboo Labs. I have the A1 Mini and the A1. I'm making such adorable gifts for my friends and family. Oh my gosh, it screws in. Look at my little Christmas tree. I think this used about $2 of filament. Look at this adorable 3D fidget print that I printed for my daughter for like $1 in filament costs. And I printed these mini on the go little screwdrivers that are keychains so you can keep them on your keys. I just finished printing a puzzle, and look at this filament. It's fun, different colors, and there's so many tool organization options and even just tool options to print off. It's kind of cool that I can go, I kind of want to do this with my tools or do this. And instead of ordering it online or trying to find an option for it, I can just go online and look for a print file and print it off. And I can do it from my trailer. I don't even have to come out here. Or like these other tool organizers for storage. The options are just endless. Bamboo Labs delivers high quality prints and volume for an entry-level price. And it's the only mature multicolored 3D printer in its price range, offering you great value for the price. Bamboo Labs 3D printers are easy to set up and easy to use, and it's really simple to send the files over. I have an app on my phone. I send the file over and it prints it. It's like magic. It has fully automatic calibration and various smart monitoring functions. It allows inexperienced users like me to print various projects with ease. Bamboo Labs is having their best deal of the year, their Black Friday sale, until December 3rd. So be sure to click the specialized link in my description. Check out Bamboo Labs, check out their various colors of filaments and their amazing 3D printers. And thanks so much to Bamboo Labs for sponsoring me this week. Good morning! Time to finish off the last strip. I need to add a little bit more strapping for the H transition trim that's going to go in between the two different siding types. Time to whip out the table saw. I just love the light flickering on this wall. I'm gonna do the little L shape above my corner trim to get ready to install the H trim. There's always something. I was like, oh, this is gonna go so smoothly. I don't know how to fix this, honestly. Okay, so this piece here is so out of plumb that the little J trim thing hangs over by like a ½ inch. And so I'm trying to figure out how the J trim L-shaped piece can be in line with the corner trim. I've cut off the back of this J trim and it's the only way I can get it to line up. I've been working at this for a bit, so being able to bend this piece so that there's still a nailing flange. I cut off this bottom part, but bending this back piece as well so that there's still a nailing flange. So it's kind of like scribed because it's the right depth at the top and not at the bottom. I'm hoping that'll work. I think that's it. I think that's the best I can do, and I'm just hoping nothing's really noticeable from the ground, and it probably won't be. Let's look. It's noticeable when you get to this side and you see a gap right in here. I think the only thing that can save it is some silicone, because like I actually just have no clue what else I could do. No one's ever gonna see it. Tuck some silicone in there and call it a day. Looks good from this side though. We have the L shape on this side. Time for a chalk line. Okay, this wall, I mean the lower half is done, just the gable left to do. Oh, this took me so long to do. 10, 11, 12, 1, 4 hours to get the H trim up, these little L trimmies, and the last 2 rows of the siding. That's wild. You can do this whole wall in 4 hours, and then you get to the last little part and it takes you forever. I only have an hour and a half left of my day. I think what I'm gonna do is take care of all the trimming today of this wall so that tomorrow Cam and I can do the gable end on the other side. That slid right in. The next thing I have to do is I have to flash the top of the window. I haven't done this in any of my other videos because it was already done by Danny and Jeremy, but I still need to do this one. And I'm excited because I feel like I can actually use snips now. And then a 3/4 inch tab going down. And then this tab goes into the J trim going down the side of the window. Hi.
That was funny timing.
It was funny timing. Everyone, welcome Colin.
Colin and his partner Paige are wanting to buy land to build their own home, so he came by for a visit and to see the house and see what's going on.
I got it.
Thank you.
Like every time I see your house, I'm just like, ugh. And then I'm like, I think I need 1,300 square feet.
You don't.
But
like you can always have a bunkie too.
yeah, I guess it's one of those things where it's like, how much more if you're building something that's 1,000 square feet? How much is that extra bedroom? And then you're like, you're already hundreds of thousands in. Do you want to just rip off the band-aid?
Okay, so yeah, that's where I was at.
We have. There's a line. There's always. You can make that argument with everything.
You can.
So.
But that's where I was at with a 2-bedroom versus a 3-bedroom home.
Colin ended up filming like an informal interview with me where we talked about different things about building a home. So keep an eye out for that on their YouTube over the next couple of weeks.
So this young lady is partially to blame for the reason why we think we might be able to build the house. It's her fault.
Good morning. All right, it's now a new day. We do have a few hours this morning child-free where we're going to try to get some more work done. And I think the best use of time with 2 people is to do the gable because there's so much specific measuring and cutting for each piece. We're going to try our best to get something done. All right, time to start on this side. It's going to be the same as the last side, a 6-inch piece. And I saved a bunch of cutoffs from the other gable end I did last week so that the angles are already cut. You just need to cut it to the length. And Cam's gonna be helping today. You pass it. I forgot I don't have all of the trims up. We obviously need the trim up for the top of the board and batten. Go in. Hate nails.
What are you doing to
Next
it?
piece. Still moves.
Yeah.
Still can expand and contract. It looks like the middle piece is gonna land right in the middle of the wall, which makes me happy.
Hey.
There we go. Yay! Now there's only one wall left to do. It looks so stinking good. And that is the last of the scaffolding outside. Just look at it. I love it. What do you guys think? I got to do the last wall today. Oh my gosh. I like to share the realness of my channel. I would love to just time lapse this whole wall for you. Like, enough with siding already. Come on. I'm having an issue with this wall and I am going to have to take out this siding, unfortunately. The J trim is not level enough. Like on the other walls, I've been using this J trim. The issue is it swoops too low in the middle and the siding is poking out of it. This piece is level all the way from that side to here, which means that this J trim is out of level across 14 feet by like an inch. So what I'm going to do is take everything out, move this J trim up. So it's not going to sit perfectly on here, but we're going to split the difference. I could make this piece lower by cutting the bottom of it off. But then my lines going across here aren't going to be even. And this is a pretty significant corner of the house that you see from the driveway immediately. That should do it. What I like is that you really can't tell it's sitting off of the ledge unless you look really hard. Now I should be able to do the rest of my siding. So every single outlet around the entire house, I've had to cut this piece so that there's like 3 inches from the bottom. And this is like way off. I don't even understand. 14.5 inches from the bottom. Yeah, this is 13 inches from the bottom. So what the heck? I do not want 2 outlets on the same wall to not be lining up. I didn't notice it before because there weren't any lines going straight across, but now that there's lines going straight across, you can see it. So I'm gonna fix it. That looks really bad. I've been using this tool wrong for a year. I thought you had to loosen this screw, put the blade in, and then tighten the screw. You guys told me on YouTube, you just have to push this lever. I thought that this was, I don't even know what I thought it was. It opens. It opens up. I've been using this tool wrong for the entirety that I've had it. Oh my goodness. And then these little guys get locked in to place. What the heck? All right, well, we learn something new every day. That was well worth it. So well worth it. I am so happy. The last strips. Vinyl siding after 3 weeks is complete. Yay! Fantastic. It looks so good. Oh my goodness. And it's done. It's done. My daughter just got on the bus and this is the first time I'm walking up seeing it completely finished, other than the portion around the main door. Now, I do have a dilemma that I want to share with you guys. This is like definitely stressing me out because I'm not going to be able to fix this. It's too cold to be able to fix anything right now with caulking or epoxy or butyl or whatever. It's not going to stick and adhere properly. My waterproofing out here is not really working. In fact, it's almost worse than it was before I added the blue skin because the water is getting like trapped somewhere and not able to escape. So it's coming this way. It's the worst over here and around this entire post here. And it was even doing it on this side. I have to say, this step was probably the worst decision I've ever made in this build, because I don't know how I'm going to waterproof it. I truly don't. I feel like I've done enough in order to waterproof it, but clearly like water is getting in behind somewhere. I just don't understand. Like, yeah, I can see a little bit here is poking through. So that's definitely a spot that's not adhering. And I don't think the caulking properly dried. So there's that. And honestly, it was fine. And then it started getting cold. And that's when the water started coming through. I wouldn't have done the siding here whatsoever if I knew water was still leaking in, but it got cold. I think maybe the butyl isn't as sticky when it's cold, and water started getting in behind places. So this is why I'm coming to you guys. There's a lot of people within construction here that would have good ideas. I know somebody said to use epoxy. My concern with the epoxy is that it would just crack. Like, there's no expansion with epoxy. And so that's why I went with caulk with butyl. Water shouldn't be able to get in behind here, but like it's clearly getting in some spots. Maybe it's just as simple as fixing the certain spots, but my concern is that there's always going to be a little bit of water eventually infiltrating our home, and that's not good. And I can't like bring the concrete step down because there's rebar, there's P strips in there, and it's only like 2-3 inches below the concrete, so I can't bring it down. The only other option would be to like bring the doors up, which means taking all the plywood out on the outside. If we end up doing drywall this winter, it means cutting into the drywall. It's just quite the operation to make this like tight. And in some spots, the butyl is perfectly fine. Like, there's no water getting in there. So it might just be as simple as going around and fixing it with like butyl or caulking or whatever. I just don't know what to do. And it's not even just the sliding doors though. Like, I have the blue skin up in behind the wall here, and it's still finding ways, like right here, it's finding ways to get in. I don't want to have to rip everything out, but maybe it's the only option. So all you builders, please give me an idea. Like, this guy not really doing anything anymore. Jeez, that never really stuck. And then like, I don't know where it's getting in. Like here and here, right over here maybe. Do I just need to do a better caulking job in the spring? Let me know. Thank you so much for being here. Check out Bamboo Labs in the description, in the pinned comment below, for all your DIY gifting needs. And I'm gonna see you next week. There's a lot to do before it actually snows and sticks, so time to get stuff done.